people, CzarThwomp here, and welcome to episode 45 of Mystery Investigations. Last time, Francisco was accused of murdering Mask to Mask 2. She has finally been put into the defense chair, and we also determined that, Manny Cochran really did murder CCU and KG8, and we're trying to investigate. Alba was trying to stop us, and we're continuing our investigation to prove whether or not Francisco murdered Mask to Mask 2. Anyways, let's get going. To Babahlese. Precisely, and if the two statues really were switched, then this means that both statues were smuggled across the border at some point, which means that a total of 3 items were smuggled across the embassies. I guess so, but you know what? It doesn't matter the number of items, only that Sis is the only one who could have done it, because the only person who went back and forth between Allebahstian and Babahlese is her. Is that really true? Was there really no one else who traversed between the two countries? Actually, there was definitively one other person, one who paid a visit to both sides of the wall. Is that really so, Agent Lang? What allows you time to try and bluff your way out of this one? I checked out what the guard said, along with the security camera's footage. You're not going to overturn my hypothesis that easily. But suppose there was some other way other than through the theater doors. What other way? The other entity that managed to cross the border unharmed. If I point it out, it would open up a new possibility. And though I hesitate to bring this out, as long as this entity exists, the impossible road becomes a possibility. It looks like you got a clever idea in mind. I do, and I can show it to you through a single piece of evidence. Fine then. Let's see this piece of evidence that will show me this other route. This piece of evidence will show us another way to move between the two countries. I believe this is the piece of evidence that will show you how. What about it? You're gonna have to explain, because I don't see another road or anything here. But that can't you not see? Walls are there with that keen eyesight. Sorry, but the only thing I see here is the crud that you're hoping to stick to the wall. I need to think calmly about this, and on the other road that smuggled the goods took. I was trying to get to that! Because the rope was used. Agent Lang, I'm sure you are familiar with this unforgettable photograph. Well, that supernatural photo, like I said before. Humans can't fly! No, of course not. I understand that perfectly well. And don't start claiming that she now somehow grew wings either. I wouldn't dream of claiming that. And I won't allow you to take back what you said earlier. I'll say again, it's not humanly possible to fly through the air without wings. So you'd better have a good explanation for this, Mr. Prosecutor. Ah! How can I prove it who it was that flew through the air within this photo? Wait, not humanly possible. Eureka! Very well, you will have your explanation. It sounds like you have a good idea simmering inside that head of yours. Let's hear it. The face hidden within this photo's blurry trail somehow shadow is? Oh, crap. Okay. Okay. Wire? This is a man behind the shadow! I thought I said that you'd better give a good explanation. I can't make heads or tails of what you're trying to say or the... Ah! Was I wrong? Go on now, hurry up and show me what that shadow that's flying through the air is. Even I do not mark that at me, I would have gladly done so, Agent Lang. I need to go over it once more time. The man-shaped shadow that flew through the air in the darkness of the night. Its shape can only be one thing. Okay. 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 Yeah. Take that. Oh no! Take that. Oh. Actually, the shadow is that smuggled object, the Primidux statue replica. You can't be serious. Really? Why can't they be just straightforward with it? The young girl who rather close to you dressed as Agent China was inside Babahlese. She dressed the replica statue up in clothes and launched it through the air. Ha, Mr. Prosecutor! You left that very crucial bit in your explanation. I know I did. She launched it through the air. Ha! And how exactly did she do that? He's literally baring his fangs at me! But he has a point. How exactly did it move through the air like that? As long as this remains unsolved, we won't be able to move any closer to the truth. Which reminds me, didn't he say this earlier? Hey sis, I remember that just before the Ambassador Alba went to give his speech, he called you into his office, right? So just before the murder, Francisco was called here, right in this very room. If that's the case, then that may be another avenue I can pursue. Agent Lang, in order for me to answer that question, I will need to hear testimony from Miss Montgomery. Oh, and what are you up to now, pretty boy? Earlier you mentioned something of interest to me. You said that just before the murder occurred, Miss Montgomery had been in this room because Ambassador Alba had called for her, and for that reason alone you believe her to be the killer. Yeah, I guess I did say something like that. In that case, I believe it is my duty to ask what her side of the story is. Ha! Do you really think a criminal would tell us the honest truth? How dare you! As I've said numerous times, there is absolutely no proof that I am the killer. Miles Edgeworth, don't tell me you suspect me too. I don't. However, I can't ignore the fact that you were in this room at one point in time, which is why I would like to hear about your movements in this room. Francisca, I feel that I still don't have enough information, which is why your testimony is incredibly important to the outcome of this case. Alright, so what would you like me to talk about? I'd like you to please testify to your movements in this room until the murder occurred. Alright, let's try it your way for a change. But if what she has to say turns out to be a waste of time, I'll place her under arrest faster than you can help. No! As you wish. Rubens and Allebahstian. I said it earlier, I was assigned to guard duty in the Allebahstian embassy. After all the Steel Samurai off on his way towards the ambassador's office, I returned to the Rose Guard for a bit and checked up on security situation. After all the preparations were in place, I was called back by Ambassador Alba into his office. Francisco, I want to make this clear from the very beginning. So what I want to confirm is that the only time span in which you were in this office was before the murder occurred. Is that correct? Yes, of course. I see. For now, the only way I can see for us to break out of this situation is to ask Francisca about her testimony in more detail. Pressing, and more pressing. I thought your duty was to fact-find anything you could about the smuggling ring. Yes, that was my job. But upon hearing that the Yatagarasu had sent a calling card to the embassy, Ambassador Alba called upon us to protect the embassy instead. That incident 7 years ago, or have you forgotten what happened here back then? Anything related to that case we were involved in appears to be rather painful for her. It's not exactly one I can readily forget myself. It looks like you remember the case after all. Of course I do. I inspected every location, every possible escape route, and every aspect of the police's security detail. I did all that, then after that, after I saw the Steel Samurai's woman. Okay. So you were at the theater as well? Yes, and I suppose you were also there as well, watching the stage show. Well, yes, so Francisco was there. Well, after the show was over and I saw the Steel Samurai off, why did you need to confirm the degree of preparation for even the speech? For security's sake, of course. What other reason could I have had? No one knew just how the Yatagarasu had planned on getting in, right? Yes, I suppose you're right. And in the end, the Yatagarasu did choose to reappear in the Rose Garden, even if it did turn out to be nothing more than a shadow. Who would have thought that she would use a shadow? Calm down, Francisca! She must still be nursing a grudge over the fact that she couldn't figure it out herself. Anyways, there was no one in the Rose Garden anyways. We were aware that the speech was set to start soon after. Okay. At that time, Damas II's body had yet to be found in this room, is that correct? That's right! My Ambassador Alba is here. One could hardly miss his rather large presence. A criminal will say anything to get out of getting arrested. How do we know you're not lying? Well, if you need proof, I'd be happy to oblige you. Seriously? Like I keep telling you, when I arrived at this office, Ambassador Alba was already here. He was standing by the flower box on the windowsill watering his plants.
Ah, I can still attest to that. I remember speaking with the lovely lady around that time here in my office.
Alright then. Add that statement to your testimony, and let's hear some details.
So Master Alva was in this room at the time, was he?
Flowers in.
For the sake of being thorough, I'd like to ask you something. How did you know that the Master Alva was watering his plants at the windowsill?
What do you mean by that?
The entrance to this room is on this side, however, the window is on the opposite side. If what you say is true, then you enter the room, his body would have been like a wall. He would have been blocking your view, so that as to why he was doing, isn't that correct?
I suppose it was a bit hard to see around him. But fortunately for me, Ambassador Alba is not an immovable wall. I knocked before I entered, and as I did, he turned around to greet me, with a watering can in his hand, so it's only natural to believe that he was watering his plants, right?
I suppose.
After his greeting, we spent a little time talking about his flowers. He obtained them himself and is growing them with the utmost care, you know.
Yes, the plants in this room, they are all like my children.
The passion flowers in the flower box on the windowsill are growing beautifully too. All 4 of them are in full bloom.
Miss McConnell, what did you just say now?
I said that the flowers are growing beautifully. What about that statement do you not understand?
What do I not understand? I do not understand why a certain thing is the way it is. I'd like for you to append that statement to your testimony.
Very well. But we only saw 2 passion flowers.
Francisca, for some odd reason, your testimony contradicts with this piece of evidence.
It does appear that way. Ha! I knew it. I knew we couldn't trust your word, sis.
Mr. Edgeworth, why are you doing this, discrediting Miss Von Karma like this?
Yes, Soy! Good job! If you give it up, she's gonna get taken away, Soy! Keep it up, Soy! Eek! All I does say what I saw. I made not a single mistake in my testimony, and for this I am still under suspicion for murder. Is the number of flowers really all that important at this juncture, Miles?
At the very least, it is a contradiction in this enigmatic case. One that I must find and dismiss as irrelevant.
Ha! Let's hear it, Mr. Prosecutor. What does the number of flowers have to do with anything? What does it prove?
I believe the answer to that will become clear if we examine that flower box. How did this contradiction come about? There must be something behind this discrepancy. They're my beloved flowers. I've grown them with the utmost care. So I ask that you please be gentle with them as you examine them, Mr. Edgeworth.
Don't worry, I'll be careful. Come to smash the flower box! Up! Come to smash the flower box! Let know the truth, or we're gonna smash you, old man!
I understand. I will arrest the judge to inspect every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. This watering can has a rather robust design.
Mr. Edgeworth, why are you telling us stuff we can clearly see for ourselves? Plus, if you keep wasting time talking about that, Miss Von Karma's gonna get arrested.
So, you want to hear about the history of the watering can? I better examine something else. This patch of soil looks as though it has been something removed from it.
What are you doing, Mr. Prosecutor? Why did you clam up all of a sudden? I'm still here, waiting for an explanation, you know.
Did you know, Agent Lang, flowers are best appreciated in silence? It looks like 2 things were pulled out of this flower box. This patch of soil. The name of these flowers, I believe they're called passion flowers. Despite being called flowers, they are actually a species of vine. They appear to be growing well and are supported by these plant supports.
Yeah, but no matter how I look at it, it always looks like there are only 2 to me. You realize, don't you, sis? Your little lie has failed you. Miles Edgeworth! Hurry up and shut this man up for me already!
I suppose I will need to use some evidence to shut him up, won't I?
Okay, I'm gonna save. I know this sounds like the coward's way out, but I need to save the game. Okay, save the game. Good. Yeah, like with other Ace Attorney games, you can basically save, and everything's good. It loads. I'm just doing this so that way I don't get game over, because I haven't saved since literally the start of episode 42, so I am a little nervous. Okay, let me just check. Oh, yeah, those hairpins were the flower vines. Okay, yeah, show evidence.
I believe I have just the piece of evidence you require.
Oh, you do you? You have such confidence in the face of your current plight, but I highly doubt it'll last until the end.
You howl like a wolf, Agent Lang, but we'll see if you have any bite to back up that bark after you see the evidence. The truth of the Ashen Flowers reveal can be seen in this piece of evidence. Sheena, who was supposedly in Babahlese the entire time, had these hair sticks on her. That look exactly like the plants that was in this flower box. In other words, I believe it can be said that these hair sticks are, in actuality, support sticks for the passion flowers.
And so what? Is this really all that important to the case?
Of course it is. It means that we found yet another item that was smuggled between the countries tonight.
Ah!
Think about it logically, Agent Lang. These sticks were originally in Allebahst, but somehow they wound up in Sheena's hands, who was in Babahlese the whole night. So make no mistake, these sticks were smuggled somehow, just like the knife and the statue.
Very well then. I want to hear from you exactly how they might have been Babahlese.
How did these support sticks find their way to Babahlese and why? There must be some reason as to why they end up there. Aha, so that's why. Agent Lang, if you would please take a look at this and tell me its shape.
That's just another stick, isn't it?
And so it is, but the shape of the support sticks is why it's important. For when they're used in something with this room... For when they are used with something in this room, that's when it all comes into focus.
Okay. Crossbow! That's a crossbow! Wait, you're not really suggesting...
I am. These hair sticks, or rather plant support sticks, they make for perfect arrows!
Ah!
I've done it! I found the common thread that connects the two offices. But this thread has yet to be completely untangled. Even using the arrows, how does this explain how the statues were transported? Furthermore, who could it have been who fired these sticks as arrows? There must be a common thread that connects all these things together.
Mr. Prosecutor, hold up a second. You do realize what happens when you tie a statue to an arrow, right? They don't fly at all! War Crossing Part 2. The Babahlese statue was draped into the Yatagarasu's clothes and then shot over here. Even if you fired arrows from this side, they wouldn't go far with a statue tied to them. I don't think I need to tell you that the Primidux statue didn't sprout wings. You're a realist after all, aren't you? That's because Mommy Karumi is the answer to all of this.
The Primidux statue didn't sprout wings? Of course they didn't.
Glad you understand. I feel much better already. I was afraid for a second that you were unaware of the crucial facts.
It's only crucial because you were under the belief that wings are necessary to this equation.
What?
You need to free your mind a little bit more and let fly like a bird on the wind. The Primidux statue flew, but not on a wing. Allow me to obey your time to explain it myself and explain the mysterious phenomenon to you. But that incredible scene just happened. I've been first caught on film, resulting in this photo.
Ha! And what an incredible scene it was. The photo was taken by a freelance photojournalist, right?
Yes, so I hear.
And not every photojournalist is known to be honest, right? Especially not the ones that sell photos of spirits and giant creatures to tabloids.
Yes, I know what you mean. I've seen those sorts of photos many times in court by the same person. But there have been times when those photos have turned out to be telling the truth, and almost landed me in jail. But that's a different story for a different time. If you had ever stood in a court of law, you would know that it's entirely plausible.
Ha! You really believe the stuff you're spewing right now? A courtroom certainly is a strange place if what you say is true. But there really is something odd about that photo, no matter how you look at it. I know what we have to do.
But we are in agreement that the arrows by itself would reach the other side, correct?
But but just the arrow by itself is pretty meaningless, don't you think, Mr. Prosecutor? Because the thing they wanted to smuggle were a lot bigger than nothing.
No, that's not necessarily true. What? What I need right now is not further discussion in my conclusions. It's the launching of my conclusions. What shooter wanted to launch with the crossbow was not the statues themselves, but rather something a crossbow can launch that can be used to move the statues.
Yes, like I said, Mommy Karumi.
Finally.
But then again, actually, technically, the Mommy Karumi stole from this case.
Finally, we have reached this point in our discussion, where I present to you that which can be carried by the arrow from the crossbow.
I get it now, Mr. Prosecutor. I can see exactly what you're trying to say. You're saying that the wire was tied to an arrow and then shot into Mr. Cochran's office. All the way from the 5th floor of the Allebahstian Embassy down to the 3rd floor of the Babahlese Embassy. If what you're claiming is really what happened, I can see how Allebahstian Primidux statue could have moved. Gravity could be used to move the statue down the wire from the 5th to the 3rd floor, with no leather gloves attached. But then, what about Babahlese Primidux statue? The dark shadow in this photo is clearly flying away from Babahlese, going the opposite way of gravity from the 3rd floor of the Babahlese Embassy up to the 5th floor of the Allebahstian Embassy. How do you explain that?
Aha! I think I finally see how the gears behind this whole trick work. As you like the motion used behind this trick, I wonder perhaps you have yet to envision how it works in your head.
Motion? What motion?
This is the motion that was employed to smuggle Babahlese Primidux statue.
Swinging motion.
A swinging motion was employed.
You sure thought that one, Mr. Prosecutor, because they used that. The statue would swing right into the building's wall.
Ah! He does have me there.
For shame, you should sign yourself up for grade school physics for not realizing that.
I am at a loss for words for that.
Mr. Edgeworth, how could you?
I was just crying.
I need to calm down and think about this for once more. There's only one piece of motion that could have been used to send the statue up.
Bungee action.
A bit of bungee action was employed.
Bungee action? Are you saying that the wire acted as a bungee cord that the statue was hauled up? That's a simple
way of putting it, but yes.
Do you think about the weight of the statue at all? That thing is solid gold. But when that thing ever reached the office window, the wire would have snapped. But okay, let's consider your idea and say that the wire is elastic, has the elasticity required. But if you find that kind of wire from a crossbow, the arrow would come sailing back at the person who shot at it. Talk about dangerous.
He's absolutely right.
I thought this sort of thing was common knowledge. I'm having a bit of a hard time right now dealing with the jurisdiction who lacks understanding of the most basic things like physics, Mr. Prosecutor.
Unfortunately for me, it appears that H.M. Lang is correct. I need to calm down and think through this one more.
Had to do them all. I know for a fact that it is rotary motion.
I believe it was done via rotary motion, and the two statues were transported simultaneously.
Get real. The statues will collide somewhere along the way.
Can I ever say that there was only one line of wire between the two offices? If you draw an arrow with the two ends of the wires tied to it, a circular belt can be formed.
Langsy says, don't object and call success what is beyond reasonability. Taking into account the tension differences between the two wires, the top one should sag too much to the point where the statues would collide anyways.
Agent Lang? As you know, the Primidux statue is a one-of-a-kind national treasure, and the fact that Babahlese statue is a hollow replica to the real one, it would naturally be lighter than the real one, meaning that my idea is very possible.
Langsy says, howl!
Here's what I believe happened. Miss Ewenham mystery co-conspirators set themselves up in two different rooms. The co-conspirator bridged the rooms by shooting the two ends of the wire down on first one arrow. Then the two of them covered the statues and proceeded to transport the statues. After the switch was completed, another arrow was fired, carrying the other end of the wire down to Babahlese where it was disposed of. To do that, Miss, you hid it inside the grandfather clock. QED.
Ha! Ha ha ha! Ugh. This proves it, right, Agent Lang? That I'm not the killer. Not yet, sis. I still haven't had my dessert yet. Right, Mr. Prosecutor?
The proof is in the pudding, as it were.
Pudding is a nice dessert. So, do you think you can do it? Can you prove that what you said happened? Because remember, if you can't, I'll be taking a certain someone back home with me as a souvenir.
I agree that as long as there's no proof, my hypothesis remains just that. However, what I have laid out is no mere hypothesis, for there is one more piece of evidence, and one more save point.
I'm saving the freaking game. I have 1 point left. I'm not losing. I'm not getting a game over. The game overs are all going to be in the bonus video. One more. This should be interesting. You think you have a piece of evidence that will turn your hypothesis into fact? Well then, let's see it, Mr. Prosecutor.
The thing that made it possible to create a circular belt that have a length of wire, I believe that is right here in this very room. I believe this is what made the circular belt transportation method possible.
The fan. Ha! Ha! Looks like you dropped another bomb us again. The last piece of the trick are 2 pulleys.
Precisely. The ceiling fan doubles as pulleys in this case. And thanks to the fact that there's one installed in each of the offices, the ceiling fan is made for the perfect pulleys of which to set the wire on. This must be it. This is how the smugglers bypass the impenetrable security.
Ha! Ha ha ha! Grr, you really are something else, Mr. Prosecutor. I bet you figured it all out already, haven't you? You know how the big hotshots that's out the real life show is? Don't you? We'll answer that next time. Anyways, I really appreciate that you're going to watch this episode. You're a great viewer. If you go back to the next one, if you like the video, like, subscribe, comment, share, do whatever you want. And with that, I'll see you next time. Bye.